Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
All right, we are back with another edition of the 49ers roster countdown, and here we have number 62, probably one of the players that most fans know the least about, but that shouldn't be the case because currently this player is one snap away from starting center. That is Keaton Sutherland, interior offensive lineman. He is in his 4th season, and again, this is a Chris Forrester, who's the offensive line coach and probably right-hand man number 2 to Kyle Shanahan on the offense. This is another one of his kind of pet projects. Chris Kusarek, defensive line coach, has his. This Keaton Sutherland is Jake Brendel 2.0 and took all of the snaps during minicamp and OTAs with the number 2 team at center. Like he's close. So let's get to know this guy because even though I don't think most people know who he is, and that's okay. He's had a journey to get where he is. This is his 4th season, as I said, undrafted free agent. He's wearing jersey number 66. Now, my favorite thing about him is just his height and weight. 6'5", 315. This is a prototypical build for an interior offensive lineman. Now, usually the center position's a little bit shorter or can be, but his size is perfect. That's his best trait. Now, this is a North Dallas boy. Played at Flower Mound Marcus, the Fighting Marauders, which, I got a couple friends on the coaching staff and nothing but positive things to say to him about him. Just great guy. He chose, let's talk a little bit more about his high school career. Gary Stanford is the head coach there. Been there for a long time. Great guy. Sutherland came out as a U.S. Army All-American, all-district player, Dallas Morning News honors as a senior. I mean, he was all over the place. Listen to these stats. He graded out at 93%, 86 knockdowns, and 43 pancakes. Like, the dude is mean, and physicality is kind of what he brings. He brings an attitude. Not the most technical, and that really hasn't improved as much as you would have hoped. But he was a big-time 4-star prospect, chose Texas A&M over Arkansas, Miami, Oklahoma, Texas. This was a big-time kid in the backyard of some of the best, programs, high school and college, in the country. Now, whenever he went to Texas A&M, he started and played right away. He came in as an early enrollee and just stepped up. Now, he had some issues with injuries. Had a shoulder injury, lost some time because of that. He had an appendectomy during the bye week one year and didn't miss a game. So, it's quite interesting. And he started right guard, left guard, and even a game at right tackle in college in an emergency situation. But he's played a lot. And so you're talking about a guy that, you're looking at how much he's been able to play just at the college level, gained a lot of experience in a very pro system, which is, really, really done him well. He comes out, did not get drafted. You look at his measurements, athletically, physically he's built. He's a little slow. 40-yard dash, 5.1. Okay, that's okay. 3-cone, 8. All right, that's not great. Vertical 36, exceptional. That's unreal. 225-pound bench press, he did it 27 times. Pretty solid. So, it's up and down. I would say he's a very well-balanced physical player that's not really great at anything. If it's anything, it's just being mean. Like, more physical than technical, as I said. NFL size, can play all 3 interior offensive lineman spots. Now, he was an undrafted free agent and has had quite the journey. He signed on with the Cincinnati Bengals first as a undrafted free agent in 2019, was waived, brought back on the practice squad, made a couple game appearances, but nothing too big. Then he joined Miami, and this is where the story starts to get interesting because that's where he was teamed up with our current offensive line specialist, coach, Chris Forrester. And so they claimed him off waivers, started 2 games for them. So he's worked with Jake Brendel. He's worked with Forrester. He's been there in that system. They waived him eventually. Then he went back to the Bengals. Again, when teams bring back players like this, it's for a reason. They like him. He's a very positive guy. Academics, exceptional, as with most people the 49ers bring in. So in 2020, he goes back to the Bengals with his second stint, was promoted on the active roster once and then waived and re-signed to the practice squad, then waived and all those things. And then that's when the 49ers come in. On March 8th, 2022, the 49ers went ahead and signed him. And again, you look back at OTAs and minicamp, he took all the snaps with the second team. Not Nick Zakiel, the guard that they said could play center, that they liked at center. Not Spencer Burford, the guard that they drafted that they said they liked at center. None of those guys. Now, my assumption is that it's going to be between the center position, Dan Brunskill and Jake Brindle, with Jake Brindle probably having the lead right now. But make no mistake, this kid, Keaton Sutherland, has a for real opportunity to play for the 49ers on their initial 53-man roster. Now, it would take an injury to one of the other two, Jake Brindle or Dan Brunskill, but this kid's got to be around. That's why we have him at 62. We have him ahead of a lot of guys that have a lot more promise, a lot more potential, just because he could step in and play right now. Now, he's got 2 starts in his career and only played in 5 games. So, NFL experience, not ideal, but he does have it. So, he's somebody that you could put in and has worked in this system for several years. You wouldn't have to worry about much. You don't have to worry about calls, all those types of things. So, he's going to be a little bit ahead of the rookies in that standpoint, and I think that's why he's getting so many reps with Trey Lance and all them, the offense. So, that's Keaton Sutherland. I think a lot of people will be shocked to hear that name this high for me. But whenever I look at, again, this entire list, the premise is who's going to have the biggest impact in 2022 for the 49ers, not long-term. If it was long-term, I'd bump them down to 75, 80. But this year, sadly, with Alex Mack's retirement, there is a very strong consideration that this guy will be a backup sooner rather than later, and that scares me. Do want to say thank you to Josh and Anthony, this show's producers, the series producers. They've done a great job. And, man, that's 62, Keaton Sutherland. We're just going to keep counting them down.